when it happens quick, and you just start losing more and more, and more and more is taken away from you. You lose hope.
There are as many reasons that individuals become homeless as there are individuals experiencing homelessness. The stigma of mental illness and addiction are only two. Homelessness can happen to anyone.
I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 2008. The last 2 years of the Marine Corps were, kind of me serving out of fear of not knowing where I would be able to go next and how is it going to be in the civilian world.
I was hurting. My wife just took off with my small one, and I needed a place to stay because my funds were cut off. My son is an addict, and my grandchildren needed me more than I needed to go back home. There wasn't a lot I could do living in the truck, but I could be here. You don't expect to be my age and to end up in that situation.
What led to my homelessness is kind of a long story, and it's a sad story. I began enrollment at WVU with no direction, no declared major. By the end of that first year, I'd become associated with all the wrong kinds of people, habits, and behaviors. My fiance has left me. I can't see my son, all for good reason, and I know it's all my fault, and I'm out on the street. I have half the use of my heart, so that has to do with circulation. That includes your brain. And you're not as sharp as you used to be, but you don't know that. So you're not making the best decisions, like when I gave up most of my money, signed it away. People make jokes about being homeless people and stuff, but it's a very traumatic experience. You never relax. You're like always waiting for something bad to happen. I still wake up at night in a cold sweat thinking I'm homeless again, or where am I sleeping at? It was always in the forefront of my mind was get my life back, get my family back. It just wasn't happening. I packed my bags, got on the metro and rode it as far south as I could to the Springfield metro station, started walking, and made it as far as Woodbridge. I set up at the tent that I was carrying with me in the woods and didn't make it past that point. I just became a homeless alcoholic.
People look at you so different when you're homeless. And people in the first couple of weeks treated me differently to how they treated me just a couple of months later. Because once they realize, what you are, it's like you don't matter anymore.
And while the experience of homelessness itself may leave its mark on those it's touched, it is merely part of a person's story. It is not what defines an individual.
I am a mother. My son, he's 9 years old. He was, of course, going through the transition with me, and he lost as well as I did.
I'm an old Army veteran, and it's probably the proudest thing I've ever accomplished in my life.
I am a mother, a grandmother, a dog mother. Kind. I can be stubborn, independent. When I know something needs to be done, we do it.
I'm a New Yorker. Left there 10 years ago, so I spent 65 years of my life. I served during the Vietnam era. I went into the business world. I am most proud of my children. They're why I live.
How I would firstly identify myself is as a Christian, as a father. I have a 6-year-old son named Holden. He lives back in West Virginia, where I'm from. I'm an employee at Home Depot, new job I just started. Just moved into this new residency. I'm just working. I'm housed, and I'm just trying to get my life back together.
I am most proud of being able to provide for my son. It's been a process, but being able to show him an early life lesson that even though you do get down, you can get back up, and there are people out there with great hearts who are willing to help you.
There are so many individuals and organizations whose work is to help those experiencing homelessness take back control of their lives and move past the experience. HomeAid is proud to partner with over 40 local nonprofits, organizations that recognize the humanity of each person who comes through their door, and that tailor their programs and services to meet the very real human needs of these individuals to help them heal and get back on their feet. HomeAid ensures that these organizations have what they need to do this. HomeAid fills the gap. so that a lack of resources doesn't stand in the way of safe, dignified, expanded, and uplifting spaces for these nonprofits to do what they do, day in and day out. Thank you for supporting our mission to rebuild lives. Through your generosity, we are lifting up an entire network of nonprofits, and by extension, showing people in our community that they are so much more than their circumstances.